Welcome back to another episode of the Casey Campbell podcast. Casey Campbell with you, of course. Pleased to be joined by Max Kahler. How's it going, man?
Good. How are you?
Doing well. I know this is your first time on here, kind of introduce yourself and tell everybody what you do.
Well, my name's Max Kahler. I'm 20 years old and have been racing asphalt late models and super late models for the past 6 years now. Started out in go-karts when I was 8 years old. Ran all over the place with that, up in Fort Atkinson, Iowa, all over. And then when I was 13, my dad used to race late models before that. And when I was 13, I got put into his late model. We went up to Jefferson Speedway, ran a handful of races up there. Following year in 2017, we went to Rockford Speedway, ran full time, was rookie of the year there. And then the last couple of years after that, we ran Rockford as well, and then started doing super late model touring stuff the past 3 years. And that's kind of what we're focusing on now with the ARC Midwest Tour, or the ASA Midwest Tour, the Tundra Series, Live for 5 Series, then, whatever limited late model stuff we can do over at Rockford.
Okay, so kind of talk about where did we last see you race and stuff?
Well, last Sunday, we were at Rockford for the Spring Classic. Finished 8th. We had a shot to win. With 2 to go, we were behind the leader, making a pass on him, got into him a little bit, checked up. Guy in 3rd got into us. We ended up spinning to the infield. But last year we ran all the Live for 5 Series races, handful of ARC Midwest Tour races, and about 8 races over at Rockford. Ended up winning 4 races at Rockford and won the final Live for 5 race at the Dells.
Yeah. So just kind of go into, what this kind of does. What does racing kind of mean to you, bud?
Well, racing in general, it's a lot of fun for me. I enjoy it, and hopefully I can turn this into a career at some point. Of course, I need to do really well at what we're doing now and hopefully get picked up by some major organizations who want to advertise with me. But that's kind of where we're at now, trying to run big races, big money races, big exposure races, try to get my name out there a little bit more.
Okay. So what kind of things what's your favorite track to race on, you think?
That's kind of a hard one. Slinger, I would say, is probably my favorite just because of how fast it is. There's nothing else like it. It's an animal itself. But other than that, I'd say the Dells is also one of my favorites. It's not, completely different from Slinger, but it's just a blast to run.
So, talking about being on the ASA Midwest Tour, what's that going to be like for you, and what's your schedule going to really consist of?
Yeah, well, we plan on running most of the ASA Midwest Tour races. We'll miss a couple. We missed the one up at Slinger that was on Sunday because we're at Rockford. But try and run most of those races. We'll be at Madison in 2 weeks for the Joe Shear, and just trying to run these big races and try and do really well.
And of course, you can catch that on Racing America. So, what's that going to be? What's Madison like? What's that track like?
It's a half mile, reasonably banked, fast track, and we're going to be on a 4-barrel there, which I've never ran there on a 4-barrel, so that'll be interesting. But yeah, we'll see. It's a fun track. We've struggled there a little bit in the past, but I think the last time we were there, we were pretty close, so we should be good.
Outside of racing, what's it like a typical day for you?
Well, I go to school for mechanical engineering right now at a local college here. Then in the fall, I'll be transferring over to NIU to continue my mechanical engineering degree. But other than that, I work down the road at Junction Auto Parts, delivering parts, inventorying cars, and that sort of stuff. And when I'm not doing either of those 2 things, I'm here working on race cars or at the racetrack.
Yeah. What's your best racing moment that you've had in your career?
Let's see. Best racing moment I've had in my career. Probably the most memorable one was winning the National Short Track Championships over at Rockford in 2020. That's an interesting race. Rockford is, there's a lot of contact that happens, especially with the super late model stuff, and it's just a blast. It's a lot of fun. Made a last lap pass on Dale Nottesett, was able to win that race, and that was kind of a big turning point for me, which kind of steered us into doing more super late model stuff and really focusing on that.
Yeah. What's it like racing a super late model?
It's a lot of fun. The limited late model stuff is fun here and there, but the super late is just a whole nother animal. You got more power, a lot more grip, and just the way the car handles on bump stops is completely different. And in my opinion, it's a lot more fun. And the competition is a lot better. And, there's all kinds of series, the ASA Midwest Tour around here, the Tundra Series, the Alive for Five Series, which have some of the best competition in the country.
Yeah. And just being at these races, where are we really going to see you next? And you kind of preview your schedule for the next few weeks
Yeah.
or months.
So in 2 weeks, we'll be at Madison with the ASA Midwest Tour. The week after that, where are we going to be? May 14th, we'll be with the Tundra Series at WIR. May 27th, we'll be at Jefferson again with the ASA Midwest Tour, and then back to the Dells June 2nd with the Alive for Five Series at Madison.
All right. All right, Max Kahler, thank you so much for coming on and talking with us, and best of luck. Best of luck in your racing career. We will definitely have you on again sometime, maybe in about a month or two.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.